Knotty Geeks, Knotty Geeks. It's time for some Knotty Geeks with Jeremy and Terry.
I was searching the dark corners of YouTube the other day.
Welcome to Knotty Geeks.
Oh,
by the
well,
way.
welcome to Knotty Geeks, where we are now on video, barely.
For the third episode.
For the third episode. I was searching the dark corners of YouTube and I came across this fellow whose real name was Duke Fightmaster.
Duke Fightmaster.
His actual name. And some 7 to 8, 9 years ago, he decided that he wanted to be a talk show host. He was tired of his job as being a credit card counselor for a bank. And he was like, I want to be a talk show host.
Yeah.
And Conan O'Brien was replacing Dave Letterman at the time. So he thought...
Attempting.
Yeah, well, he attempting. No, I like Conan O'Brien.
Yeah, I know, but...
So Duke Fightmaster thought, well, I could be I could replace Conan O'Brien. But rather than, become a stand-up comedian and become a writer in Hollywood and move your way up the ranks and hobnob with
Developing chops.
Yeah, he just decided to just go right to it and start...
Like us?
So yes, it reminds me a lot of us.
But there's only one of him. We have the advantage already.
He filmed his first talk show in his bedroom. Literally his bedroom, but he had 3 audience members, so that's infinitely more than we have. And his wife was his sidekick, and his best friend was his single guest.
Okay.
And he did 90 shows.
Yeah.
Eventually, they moved into a hall. They had to pay rent for the hall, and they had to get more equipment, and he lost a lot of money, and lost his house and nearly his wife, and got into huge credit card debt. Irony. Because, he's a credit counselor. It's just
subtle.
Yeah, very subtle.
Is that better than Alanis Morissette's...
That's slightly better than Alanis Morissette's Irony, yeah.
Okay.
But the amazing thing about the whole story is that he never... Well, he did stop doing the show. After about 90 shows, he had to stop doing that.
Yeah.
But he never stopped uploading stuff to YouTube. And he recently did a successful Kickstarter to do a movie based on the second show that he'd started, which was... I haven't watched it. It was just like Duke's World.
Some made-up place in his head?
It just... Him and his friends and a lot of in-jokes and whatnot. But they raised like $12,000 on Kickstarter to do the movie of Duke's World.
Really?
And the production values have gone up a bit. The very first episode of the Duke Fightmaster show was not high quality. It was shaky cam. It was bad sound. It was, bad camera, everything. And you look at him today and it's like, yeah, it's getting up there. It's decent YouTube video quality.
Yeah. Well, as I say, anybody who does YouTube, even modestly well, is way ahead.
It takes a lot
way
to get
ahead
there.
Of us.
You need a lot of really good equipment and cameras and mounts and people holding them, and we don't have any of that. Not yet, anyway.
That's right. When we have a crew, you'll know we've arrived. If you are on that crew, you know you have arrived.
Right.
Say it.
Yeah, they'll be right there.
Yeah.
So, what else is going on besides Duke Fightmaster in the world of...
We were talking about the Powerball Lottery that's supposed to net $400 million, even though it's like $800 million.
Yeah, $800 million. Yeah,
that's like almost $1 billion.
And I was expressing the profound lack of imagination in most people in thinking what they would do with this money. And they're like,
big house.
Got a big house and maybe make sure my parents are taken care of. Or
get a couple cars.
That's like, no, this is $400 million.
Yeah, but we had this conversation. You wanted to build a boat.
But not just any boat.
You were going to spend $10 or $12 million to build a boat, and I told you what the current going price for a 120-foot luxury yacht is.
But you can get
$250 million, buddy.
You can make smaller boats that are still interesting and different and...
You can go down and buy any one of the boats in the harbor that's not being used by their owner, and they'll just thank you for giving them money.
Yes, because the boat is like a giant hole that you dig in the water and then you throw money into it.
Yeah.
Yeah. But wouldn't it be neat to build a boat that looked like an old World War II battleship? And then sail around in that? That was my idea.
Okay, first nuke submarine that sees you goes, oh, pirates. Fire one. Fire 2, Fire 3.
That could be a problem. So what would you do with 450 million after-tax dollars?
I told you, I would go out and I'd get onto the convergence acceleration bandwagon and I would fund things that look promising. Remember that whole list of things for We Choose to Go?
Yes.
The chameleon tape?
Yep.
Because of the little stickers? Little stickers,
little
and it works in vacuum. Because it turns out that duct tape isn't really good in the cold. But anywhere inside your ship or environment, you can use duct tape. But chameleon tape would stick outside. It would be the new duct tape.
Right.
Cam me.
You know, duct tape featured in the Martian movie when he had
no, I don't.
some problems with his suit.
Oh, wait.
He
I read the book.
Yeah, that was a little add-on for the movie. So what other, besides the fancy tape, what else would you invest in?
As I said, there's all sorts of molecules being discovered. There's enhancements to solar power where they're trying to bond 2 or 3 different, not compounds, but elements.
Yes.
Atoms in proper places on silicone so that your range, your spectrum of receptors gets wider and you're getting up to 30% efficiency.
So you're capturing more of the energy from the sun.
Yes, and while that is, incremental, if you use it on the moon...
Oh, it's always sunny there.
You can, in certain places.
There is
actually... It's sunny in a lot of places because it goes around the Earth.
It's half of the moon.
There is no dark side.
There is no dark side of the moon.
What they mean by dark side is a metaphor for unseen.
Yes, there is an unseen side of the moon because...
Like the Force.
It rotates around like this. So if the tips of my fingers are the moon's surface that we see, that's kind of how it rotates. But
I thought it just kept going around.
Oh, it does, but my arms don't work that way.
Oh.
Maybe if we use cups. See, here's the Earth.
Here we go, the actual demonstration. Jeremy being a cosmologist.
Well, you can't really see,
Look,
but there's the words on there. We can see the words. That's the face of the moon. Here's the Earth. And it's tidally locked. And the reason it's tidally locked is because the gravity stretches out the planets like elongated balls of matzo something.
This is a use spent with Carl Sagan.
Yeah. So as it goes around, the rotation slows down until the moon is tidally locked. That happened first. Eventually, the Earth will be tidally locked, and then only one side of the Earth will face the moon. So then they'll just be looking at each other the whole time.
Okay.
And then one side of the planet will never see. Oh, yeah. Here, have your Earth. I'll drink my moon coffee.
See what happens when you add video?
So many possibilities. I didn't even think
I
could do orbital mechanics with coffee.
With 400 million,
yeah,
you're now entitled to buy that airplane, the Gulfstream that flies 7,000 to 8,000 miles. That puts you in the uber elite.
Cheaper than a boat, apparently.
You asked me who buys these things or does this thing, and it's the people who actually have accumulated the wealth of the world. And there's 2 classes of those people as well. Those who have family institutional money and those who manage it for them.
Yes.
And these people, at a moment's notice, can fly anywhere in the world on 1 tank of gas.
Of course.
And that's how I define the 1%.
Yeah, although...
Not some artificial thing where you are a manager or a paid consultant or an investor, but where you actually have this sort of connection. Because you also have to be connected. You don't just suddenly get $400 million. You think anybody's going to come along and say, hey, Terry, want to rule the world?
No, it doesn't work that way.
No, they go, if I can have 300 million of your stuff, we'll make sure that you're happy for the rest of your life.
Yeah.
Just write the check.
Wasn't it
write the check now.
Something like 15 families that
write the check.
That have more than, not half the wealth, but maybe half the wealth in the U.S.? Some ridiculous number.
12,000 individuals are in this group.
Yeah, that's significantly less than 1%.
Which goes to your families. small family.
Yeah, there's small
units.
families. There's the Walmart family, the Koch brothers, the various other multi-gazillionaires. And that's just in the States. We have
Yes.
to not forget the Russian oligarchs who stole most of the wealth of the Soviet Union and turned
Isn't
it...
it oligarch?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay.
Yeah.
But they'd be oligarchs because that's
They're-
sort of
they're
like
ugly.
oil.
They're so ugly.
I don't think we should be putting that out there. They're not ugly.
They're not ugly.
Oleg. You can tell we're just free falling at the moment.
Yeah.
But yes, with $400 million, you could be comfortable.
But
You
what
could
would you
create
do
neighborhoods.
that... Yeah, you could be comfortable.
You could create a school.
You could. It's amazing how few people do that, though. Or
You
maybe
could
they do
create
and
a
we just
school
don't hear
or,
about it.
Or a campus or a place to be. And you could provide housing with that, and you could provide research facilities. Yeah, $400 million doesn't go very far, because how much is the new bridge to replace the Dees Island Tunnel? Now we're getting very...
Geographically specific?
Yes, we live in the Lower Mainland, Vancouver.
Best place on earth,
Yeah,
pretty much.
and we have a tunnel at the mouth of the mighty Fraser with 2 lanes going each way, which was more than adequate when it was built, but is now reaching the end of its lifespan and also blocking access to the inner part of the harbors of Vancouver along the Fraser River. It's got a 12-meter draft, which means your boats are limited. If you take it out and
Okay,
dredge
so-
the river,
How much is the bridge? How much is the bridge?
$3 billion they're
3
talking
billion.
about. We had a transit system built from Richmond, the island, all the way into downtown Vancouver, and that was $2 billion when all was said and done.
There's a
So
very famous...
$400 million doesn't do anything for you.
There's a very famous saying, I don't know how famous it was. It was a government minister in the U.S., maybe a defense minister,
Okay.
in the 70s, I'm going to say.
Okay.
And he had this saying, he said, oh, you know, you put a billion here and a billion there, and pretty soon you're running into some real money.
Yes. The
But
United
now
States budget.
you have to inflate that by whatever the inflation was since the 70s, which is, what, 40 times? Something like that?
I wouldn't even begin to wonder about it. The only thing I ever saw was the $1 billion gram that showed the American budget as a big square,
Oh, yeah, I saw that.
and then it had smaller squares inside it to give you a perspective on what amount of money the defense budget, the education budget, and the healthcare budget was.
Quick question,
Okay.
quiz for those viewers out there. How
Oh,
many?
viewers.
Yeah. How much of that $1 would be spent on all of NASA and all the entire space program? People think it's like, if you ask people in the interview, they think it's like 10% or something. It's actually half of 1%, half a penny
Yeah.
out of your dollar.
That's why the Europeans
to
are going to have a
explore
colony
Pluto.
on the moon
Yeah.
real soon now. Because all it is like we've hypothesized, is prefab buildings are using natural features, or even putting a drilling machine up there and setting it loose. And it goes in a straight line until you need a cavern, and then it goes like this in a line until it's gone, and then it goes back down and carries on.
There you go.
Clean out the rubble.
Yeah.
1/6 of the gravity. Much
Moon base.
easier.
Done.
Yeah, big
Ship
part.
it.
Yes.
Cool.
Okay. So,
So,
what I hypothesized 30 years ago, if I had $1 billion,
yeah.
I would have built a rapid transit bullet train out to Hope. Hope's about 90 miles.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay,
Something
and
like
it
that.
can go right down the center of the highway because there was a huge boulevard at the time. And I would have hired somebody like Jeremy to go and buy me politicians and zoning.
Oh, I'm expert at buying politicians. That's my core competency.
Hey, here's $10 million. Go. And yes, you would overspend on the first
Wink, wink.
few politicians and
Nudge,
everything.
nudge.
Right?
Know what I mean?
But you would be making money at the end of this. And also, I'd be selling 6 stations along the way for $250 million apiece. This is 30 years ago, $250 million apiece. And all they would have to do is include fire, rescue, library, community center, hotel, restaurants as a core around the station, and then they could have as much horizontal placement as they wanted. So
yeah, well, you'd see
make
it
the road
build
come
up
out either
right?
way,
Yeah.
and then build.
People would build up automatically. We see this now with the new SkyTrain expansions, all these new stations. Companies are building little malls and cineplexes and restaurants and things all around each new station.
Yep.
Because it's convenient for people to get off there.
Well, it's very fast at the Canada line, and it was much slower on the SkyTrains.
Yeah, the old SkyTrain going out. Yeah.
The Expo line went only to Columbia Station, and when it jumped across the river to Surrey, it was like pulling the plug in the bathtub, because now you had the population equivalent to the city of Vancouver living there.
Yeah.
And
A lot more of that now.
Well, then they did the extra loop line through Burnaby.
Yeah.
So they had a straight line and then a loop line that went to 2 points. And now they've added a line out to Port Coquitlam.
Maybe
which I've seen.
100 years from now, maybe it'll be a proper transit system. Maybe.
That's the problem. Back in the day, in the beginning, if they had spent 3% more on the infrastructure, it would be 10% stronger. It could carry full trains.
Yeah.
Now we've got the small car light rail transit system. It's automatic. It's above the traffic or below the traffic.
It's okay, but it's very strained to its limits at peak times, and it's not the best transit system in the world. Of course, you work for TransLink, so you have to say that it's the best system of.
I'm not allowed to bring the system into disrepute.
You're not allowed. Your contract states that.
Anything I learn. Oh wait, I don't learn this stuff from there.
Oh yeah.
That's just experience.
Well, before we both incriminate ourselves anymore, it's about 18 minutes. Are there any final thoughts? Anything else that you want to talk about?
Best new show to go and find? The
Oh,
Expanse.
New sci-fi show
Yes.
based on the novels by,
Corey?
I don't know. It'll be in the show notes.
Yay.
Yay. So The
I
Expanse,
think it's
best new
James
show.
Corey.
Okay. Any books been reading lately?
Well, I picked up another Roger Taylor recommendation.
Yeah.
That's the guy who does Schlock Mercenary.
Schlock Mercenary.
And there's a thing called Barsk, where all the Fants live. And these are the uplifted elephants.
Okay, Fans.
Yes, and all
Fancy.
the other uplifted animals form the alliance, and it sort of feels like that, the Mages one, the Gunpowder Mages.
Yeah.
Even though it's completely different, it feels like it. So I think I'm getting a hang of what Roger Taylor likes in a novel.
Yeah. All right, well, we'll throw that in the show notes, dude.
Yeah.
Novel of the week,
The Barsk.
The Barsk.
Yes.
All right.
Okay.
Well, I got nothing else.
Okay.
Let's finish our coffee. Thanks for tuning in. Bye.
Just before the sirens get here and we
Yeah.
get taken away.